We've all been there, right? You're watching a performance and it just grabs you. It feels so completely undeniably real. But of course, we've all seen the opposite too. So, what is that secret ingredient? What separates a performance that moves you from one that just falls flat? Well, it turns out it's the very same thing that powers all genuine human connection. Yeah, why is that? It's a question that gets to the very heart of storytelling. You can have the most amazing script, the most beautiful set, but if that connection between the characters feels off, the whole thing just crumbles. It feels hollow. So what's going on there? You know, the legendary acting teacher Konstantin Stanislavski had a name for this. He saw it in his students all the time. This look. He said the eye is a direct window into our inner world. So when an actor isn't truly present, their eyes completely betray them. They become what he called a mirror of the empty soul. Chilling, right? So let's just give it a name, shall we? Let's call it the vacant eye problem. It's that exact moment when you can just tell an actor is going through the motions. They're saying the lines, sure, but they're not really there. They're disconnected. So what's actually happening inside their head when this connection breaks? Well, maybe the actor's mind wanders off to what they're having for dinner, or they get so obsessed with hitting their marks that the whole thing becomes robotic. Either way, that vital exchange of feeling with their scene partners is just gone. And what we get as the audience is something that feels totally and completely false. So, what's the antidote to the vacant eye problem? Stanislavski came up with this incredibly powerful solution, a concept he called communion. And let me tell you, this isn't just about talking and listening. Oh no, it's something way, way deeper. So what exactly is communion? The two words you really want to focus on here are uninterrupted and mutual. It's this continuous two-way street, a constant flow of giving and receiving between people, whether they're speaking or completely silent. You can kind of think of it as the engine that drives every single believable interaction. Torzov, the master teacher in Stanislavski's book, throws out this challenge, and it just brilliantly illustrates the whole idea. Think about it. We are never truly disconnected. We're always in communion with something. The person we're talking to, a memory, the song on the radio, even the chair we're sitting in. So the question isn't if you're connecting, but what you're connecting to. Now, to make this huge idea practical, Stanislavski broke it down into 4 circles of connection. They start from the most intimate personal space and expand all the way out. Let's walk through them. So, circle number 1, the absolute foundation for everything else, is internal. It's communion with yourself. Stanislavski saw this as a constant dialogue between your mind, your head, and your gut, your center of emotion. I mean, it makes sense, right? Before you can ever hope to truly connect with someone else, you have to be connected with your own thoughts and feelings first. From there, we move outward to the second circle, connection with a partner. This is that direct, active exchange we usually think about. But here's Stanislavski's key insight. It's not just about looking at someone's face. It's about reaching for their living spirit, the real feeling person inside. It's the huge difference between just looking at someone and truly seeing them. Now, the third circle, this is where things get really interesting. You can be in communion with something that isn't even physically there, a memory, an idea, a ghost, you name it. An actor playing Hamlet doesn't need to believe he's seeing a real ghost. What he needs to do is connect with his character's relationship to the idea of his father's spirit. It's a totally internal connection to an external concept. And finally, the fourth circle expands to include the entire audience. Now, this isn't about awkwardly making eye contact with people in the front row. It's an indirect, almost unconscious bond. Stanislavski called a great audience spiritual acoustics. Basically, they act like a giant emotional amplifier, soaking up the energy on stage and reflecting it right back. It's that electric feeling you can only get from a live performance. Okay, so now that we know what true communion looks like, let's flip the coin and look at the counterfeit versions. Because sometimes understanding the fake really helps you appreciate the real deal. Stanislavski pointed out 3 main types of fake communion. First, there is what he calls thin air. Just mumbling words without any real thought or feeling behind them. Then you've got exhibitionism, where an actor isn't really playing a character, they're just showing off how great their voice is or how dramatically they can pose. Looks cool maybe, but it's empty. And finally, mechanical acting, hitting every mark perfectly but with zero inner life. It's technically flawless, but emotionally dead. But true communion, it goes beyond just what we can see and hear. Stanislavski was convinced it taps into something deeper, an almost invisible force that flows between people. He called this energy invisible currents or rays. And come on, we've all felt this, haven't we? That moment of intense, silent connection when just a single look says absolutely everything. Stanislavski believed that in those moments, we are literally sending and receiving streams of unseen energy, a direct flow of feeling that connects us. Now, to really control these currents, an actor needs something Tortsov called grasp. And the metaphor he used to explain it is just brilliant. It's not about being tense. It's about this unwavering, intense focus. It's the power to seize your object of attention, whether it's a person, an idea, or a feeling, and just not let go. There's this fantastic little story in the book that makes this idea crystal clear. An animal trainer would test his monkeys by showing them a bright, interesting object. Then he'd try to distract them with something even better, like a nut. If the monkey's eyes darted away to the nut, it was rejected. But if its focus was unbreakable, if it held on to that first object with total concentration, that was the one he chose. And that, right there, is the power of grasp. And here's the real kicker, the most important takeaway from all of this. This entire system, communion, the four circles, those invisible currents, the power of grasp, it's not just a fancy technique for actors. It is a blueprint for all genuine human connection. It's what's happening in our most meaningful conversations, our deepest friendships, and our most loving relationships. So that leaves us with one final thing to think about. If you look at your own life, not as a performance, but as a series of real interactions, where do you feel that uninterrupted mutual exchange? Where is your communion strongest? And maybe more importantly, where do you see the vacant eye? Where is that connection broken? And what could you do to bring it back?